permit me to share with you another category where I think precision in language is really important. The other day, I ran into a fellow, nice guy, pastoring a church, and I said, tell me the single most important thing about your church. What's the big kaboom? Would you please answer that question for you and your church? This fellow said, oh, it's all about Jesus and spreading the good news of the gospel so that people can love him and become disciples and have their lives transformed. Now, that's a good thing, isn't it? But should that be the central thing about a church? These days, a lot of churches have vision statements or mission statements or purpose statements, and no problemo, but I would like to suggest that fellow's vision statement actually, don't stone me for this, shouldn't be Jesus or the gospel. Let me explain why. Precision in language. Have you ever read any of the great confessions of faith, the London Baptist Confession of Faith, the Westminster, Heidelberg Confession, all of those? They always begin with the same thing. What is like the most important thing? You would go, well, theology. Theology proper, God's character and nature. Each one of the confessions actually starts with the Bible. Why? Why do our confessions always begin? This is like the foundational thing, even though it seems to contradict. And wait a second, it can't be as important as Jesus. Well, it's not as important as Jesus, but it's important that this is our foundation. Otherwise, we can't know Jesus. You see, our vision statement, the central thing about our church, in my opinion, must be the Bible. Because if we don't have that to stand on, other decisions that we make are going to be a little bit wonky. For instance, this guy who look at what he said was lovely. But if my goal is for as many people as possible to hear the gospel, you know what I'm going to start to do? I'm going to start making decisions to accomplish that goal that might not be biblical. But if the Bible is the big shebang, we always go to it, we run to it, public reading of the Bible, we make sure that we are always guided by the Bible, then my decisions about Jesus and presenting him to the world are going to be rightly aligned with God's thinking. From whence do I get that? Well, you don't have Jesus without the Bible. There's no orthopraxy, right living, without orthodoxy. Where does orthodoxy come from? The Bible. The confessions of faith, they all begin with the Bible because it's foundational to everything else. Psalm 119, a bunch of other verses, talk about the importance of the Word. It's our plumb line. It's everything that we know so about God is presented there, and without it, we would be lost. Might I encourage you, now look, I'm not trying to diss you. If your mission statement is about making Jesus known, I get that, really, believe me, and it's wonderful. But might I suggest maybe somewhere in there, or in the values of your church and how you approach meetings and Sunday school classes, how you do worship, how you do evangelism, how you do counseling with people, it is based on the Bible. Without it, I fear that we will become pragmatic, that we will make decisions that are just a little bit compromised, and the good goal that we have of spreading the good news about Jesus Christ will not be done right or with the right motives, and ultimately will do the very opposite of that which we desire to accomplish, celebrating and making Jesus known.